Deadrock is back, and we actually start off with a recap. We're reminded that this is a tournament where you have to kill your opponent, but the whole point of that is to point out the fact that Yakuto is still concerned about having to kill Freya. And while Freya says she's ready to go all out against Yakuto, and she's accepted the fact they gotta kill each other, I still have my doubts that she's serious about that. Of course, everyone congratulates Yakuto for his win, including Freya, but she seems to be very on the sidelines. It's clear that she's heavily focusing on trying to kill Lao Zin, but at the same time, they're gonna have to kill each other if she somehow makes it to the end. So the second fight begins, Setsuna versus Virgo, and as you can imagine, Setsuna has a massive fan base because she's so beautiful. We already saw earlier that she has a massive fan base. Problem is, the girl has no issue just frying those people. Hani points out that Virgo's going to be a tough one to beat because he's a second year, and apparently only 30% of people actually make it to their second year, so you got to be pretty strong just to do that. So while Setsuna might be everyone's personal favorite, Virgo is seen to be the favorite in this fight. Choco then hears that only 30% of people get to make it to the second year. She declares that their entire class is going to make it. That's when Hani points out Henya's already dead. Of course, she starts to cry when she remembers that and says, well, the rest of us are definitely going to make it. And that's when Hani thinks to himself, okay, but how are Yakuto and Freya going to make it? One of them has to die today. Which means Hani is most likely trying to think of a way to prevent them from dying. I don't know how you do that without causing major issues, but something has to happen to break up this tournament. And there are only two major things that have been set up so far. There's the Hankatakuri, who is currently creating a giant magic circle under the ground. Two is Ghost. Oh no, there's a third one. That would be the old bat who finally was able to open up God's book. So yeah, one of those three is probably going to interrupt the middle of this tournament, and that's going to be the beginning of the next arc. Anyway, the fight between Setsuna and Jelly begin. It starts off with Setsuna creating these flower petals which ignite on fire, completely lighting Jelly on fire. But he's able to absorb any element, and as a result of this, he then is able to wrap himself around her body with his elastic jelly head, and he tries to burn her alive with her own element. But it turns out she cannot be killed by her own element because she is a descendant of a Ninetales. So her ability to control fire is actually just the base ability of hers. As a Ninetale, she has the ability to control people's souls, which means she's a hybrid between Freya and Makoto. And odds are she probably even has even more abilities that would make her broken. Anyway, she uses this new ability called Soulfire Dragon Tail, which based on the name and the fact that she's able to manipulate other people's souls tells me that she's probably not just burning his physical body, she's burning his very soul itself. Which is important because his jelly body can absorb any element, but can his soul? The answer to that is no. He's just being burned to death, and his last thoughts are why he joined the school Deadrock, and the simple fact is he just wanted to get a girlfriend that wasn't a jelly. I guess he wasn't attracted to his own kind, he wanted to find a really hot woman, but in the end that didn't really work out for him, he just got burned to death. Next up is the fight between Lloyd and Edgy. We don't really get to know what Lloyd is, because he doesn't last very long. Edgy is completely focused on Yakuto, ignoring Lloyd altogether. Lloyd gets pissed off, attacks, Edgy then transforms into a werewolf, and just one-shots him. So if you're counting, that's 3 fights in a row. That was just an easy blowout. Yakuto won with ease, Edgy won with ease, and Susanoo, of course, won with ease. So all of these fights are just one-sided slaughters at this point. It's barely a tournament. And so we get the beginning of the final fight of the first round. Freya versus Lao Zin. Lao Zin decides to make an entrance where he's literally being carried by all of his corpses. So yeah, the battle manic is just having the time of his life. He's really enjoying himself. How this whole thing is going to end up is anyone's guess, because like I said, I have no idea if Freya's going to win, if she's going to die, or third option, something happens where the whole tournament gets canceled and we enter a whole new arc. All I know is that this last fight is probably going to be the first one where it's an actual fight that lasts the entire chapter, and not just something that just is a complete blowout. And I know the fight that Yakuto had technically lasted the whole chapter, but it really didn't. It was a flashback, and then we just see him kill a guy. I think the next chapter is going to be a genuine fight that lasts the entire chapter. How it will end? Your guess is as good as mine. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up so you enjoy more Deadrock and other main things. Thank you, and have a great day.